What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. So today we're going to be talking about an exchange that I recently had on Instagram in the DMs. Now, the way that this exchange got set up, it was actually from a post that I had posted on my Instagram. This is the post right here. This was actually posted by the Fittest Doc, who is a doctor on Instagram. He actually does CrossFit and stuff like that, so I might be interviewing him on the podcast because he seems like a very smart guy. But he posted this, and then in his caption, he writes, "I do not condone body shaming, but as a physician, I also cannot condone people pretending that obesity is healthy. Beauty may be skin deep, but fat deposits go all the way to your internal organs. Be healthy, live well." And then as you can see, it is a picture of two, I think those are hearts. I'm pretty sure that's a heart. If it's not, I am very stupid. But yeah, that's, I mean, there's not much that you can really say about that, right? And then in my caption, I wrote, "A lot of people have sent me this image from the Fittest Doc, and I think it explains my feelings with obesity pretty well. I was 20 years old and terrified that I was going to die at any second. Yes, you might be morbidly obese and have fine health markers now, but it will not be that way forever. And remember, you see a lot of obese people and you see a lot of 80-year-olds, but you don't see many obese 80-year-olds. And then I asked, what are your thoughts? Is this body shaming or healthist? Now, I will say, with that post, most of the stuff was actually pretty positive. People understood where I was coming from. It wasn't really that controversial of a post. But then I got a DM. Now, most of the time when people will send me DMs and they're trying to kind of argue with me, I don't respond. But I was genuinely curious of, you know, how far I could go down the rabbit hole, I guess you could say, because normally I don't engage at all. So I was just curious to see what would happen if I did engage someone that was very upset with me about something that I posted. Now, I'm going to block out her name because I'm not trying to bring any hate on her. I'm sure, you know, where she's coming from in her head is a very positive place. She is not trying to be overly mean. So I'm not trying to bring any hate on this girl that messaged me. So this was the first message that she sent me. It says, "Can you be unhealthy and fat and still love yourself is the question. Your weight doesn't determine your worth. Just because you hated yourself doesn't mean others should be ashamed of themselves. Loving yourself should come first always. You lost my respect a while back, so thanks for the reminder." So I thought it was funny that, you know, it seemed like a pretty normal message, nothing super crazy, but then there's that little jab at the end, you know, I completely lost my respect, which for me, when I first read it, I was a little like, well, then why even message me? So again, that's why I wasn't even going to respond. But then I was like, you know what, I'm actually interested because she was kind of putting words in my mouth, which I don't like. So I responded. I said, "I never said I hated myself. I said I was afraid of dying from a heart attack." And I said, "Of course you can love yourself and be overweight." I think that's where a lot of people that maybe are, you know, in the fat acceptance community or anything like that, that get upset about, you know, pictures like that where they show a healthy heart and an unhealthy heart, or, you know, pictures of people that put before and afters. They feel like no matter what, no matter even if you say that I loved myself enough to change, because I've said that many times, right? Like, I did not absolutely hate myself when I was morbidly obese, because if I absolutely hated myself, I would have just continued to eat myself into an early grave. That's where I was headed. But I realized that I wanted to live a longer life. So I really do think a huge part of self-love is taking care of this body that we have, right? That's just my opinion. So I think a lot of people that are, you know, with the fat acceptance community, things like that, they feel like anyone that tries to lose weight is doing it out of a place of hatred of their body, and they want to change their body, when in reality, yeah, like, changing your body happens from losing weight. But for a lot of people, and I would say for the vast majority of Americans that are trying to lose weight, it's because you're trying to work on your health. You're trying to live a longer life for your children, for your grandchildren, things like that. It's not just because I hated how fat I was and I wanted to change it. Then she goes on to say, "Why did you eat then? Have you deconstructed that?" I didn't really know what she meant, so I said, "What do you mean, why did I eat?" Like, people make choices that are self-destructive. Clearly, by your latest post, it shows being obese is self-harming. So why did you become obese in the first place? If you haven't figured that out, I suggest you do. Otherwise, you come across self-hating in these posts. Before we get into my reply, I think that there's definitely a spectrum of, obviously, of like obesity. There are different, obviously everyone's a different size, right? So there are definitely levels. I think there's a lot of people that it's not self-hating the reason that they've gained weight. A lot of it is just lack of knowledge, not knowing what they're doing, not knowing what they should be eating, things like that. But there's definitely a group of people that it is a little bit of self-hating, especially once you're, you know, over a certain amount of weight and you're not even mobile anymore. You know, you're 500, 600 pounds and you can no longer move. I would say that that's definitely a form of of self-hatred and trying and self-harm. But I would say the vast majority of people aren't at that level. So I went on to respond to her. I said, I didn't have the knowledge about the damage I was doing to my body and the knowledge of how to fix it. Now I do, so I try to share that knowledge with others. And I mean, that's the basis of my whole channel, right? It's always been, I lost weight and I want to help other people do that are interested in doing it, right? Like, I'm not sitting here trying to force anyone to do anything. I kind of bring that up a little bit later in my conversation with her. I'm not here to force anyone to do anything. If you don't want to lose weight, that's fine. Go for it. Like, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you. But the people that like follow my Instagram, like, I don't sit there and promote my posts to other people. I don't pay money for it to get out there. Like, I would say most of the people that see my posts are people that are following me. So they're people that are interested in my content. Yeah, there's, you know, a little bit of stuff that might get on the Explore page, but I genuinely almost never get on the Explore page. Pretty much people that see my posts are people that are following me, and then maybe, you know, a friend that might tag someone in something. But it's not like I'm forcing my posts down anyone's throat or forcing my videos down anyone's throats. These are just my thoughts and my opinions. And so for her to get so upset about this, it's not like I'm telling anybody that they need to lose weight. I'm just sharing the facts and saying, if you do want to lose weight, I have some advice, and there's obviously tons of other advice on the internet that you could follow if that's something that you want to do. But regardless of all of that, no matter if you want to hear that or not, it doesn't change the fact that being morbidly obese is not good for your health in the long term. It doesn't change that. So me saying that might upset you, but that it's not like I'm making this up and trying to hurt people's feelings. I'm just sharing what's out there for anyone to grab if they want to find that knowledge. Then she goes on to say, well, I believe people choose self-destructive ways to deal with trauma. And I said, I understand. Some people choose drugs or sex and even food. And I said, that's true. And then she goes on to say, if we don't understand why, then can we really be at peace with why we are being destructive? And then so I kind of realized, like, there was no, obviously I'm not going to change anyone's mind in the DMs on Instagram. So I just kind of wanted to end it with this. I said, I think that a lot of people who are morbidly obese are food addicts for sure. I was one myself, but it's not a free pass to just accept that life. Also, most people I have encountered wanted to make a change. That's what I'm here to do. Help those that want to change. I don't need to force anyone to change. That's not my job. If you're happy with where you're at, that's great. And then she goes on to say, well, personally, I have made many changes in my life, lost weight and changed, but honestly, I don't need any fat phobic posts in my feed. And I replied with an okay and a smiley face. Like with any addiction, food addiction is obviously really, really tough to deal with. I wouldn't really wish it on anybody. But just because you might identify as a food addict, it's not like that just gives you a free pass to now do whatever you want and not have to worry about the consequences because, oh, I'm an addict. I can't change anything about that. If that was the approach that we had with people that might be drug addicts or people that might be addicts of anything else and just be like, well, you're an addict, so there's really nothing you can do about it. No, we try to fix the problem. We try to work on the things that are making you an addict. And that's what we should do with food addicts as well. We shouldn't just be like, well, it's, you're just a food addict, so that's what we're gonna have to deal with. I'm sorry. Like, no, let's change this. There's plenty of people that have been addicted to drugs and other things that have been able to get out of that, right? My mom was a gigantic drug addict. We were actually taken away from her when I was a child, and she decided, I want to make a change because I want to live a better life. And so if she would have just accepted the fact that she was a drug addict and now there's nothing she could do about it, I don't know where I would be in my life. And so for someone to sit there and say, well, they're just food addicts. Like, yeah, I was a food addict. And then I made a change and decided I don't want to be a food addict anymore. So again, I understand that she probably is coming from a place of trying to be understanding and trying to help people or make people feel like they are accepted. And I think that's great. And I think that's important and everyone should feel accepted. But at the same time, the acceptance shouldn't come at the cost of, someone's life or someone's health. I think that that's where we have to draw the line. And again, that's just my opinion, but I wanted to share this conversation again because one, she was kind of name calling, but it's not like we were just yelling at each other. There was an actual conversation that I thought was a little bit interesting. So I wanted to share that with you guys and show, both sides of the argument. So I do appreciate you guys watching. I would love to hear what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.
obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.